Practice number 3, prep, anal prep. So, the most important thing in preparing the rectum, the bottomless pit, as I like to think of it, is what goes into the mouth will change the experience tremendously, meaning what you eat and what you drink. If you are consuming large quantities of food, this orbit of synchronicity, orgasmic orbit, where one is creating continuous pleasure through anal penetration, massaging the prostate, becomes very challenged if you're consuming a lot of food. The one thing that is highly recommended in the diet, this is Trader Joe's psyllium. And what is psyllium? Psyllium is a part of the corn husk. It's no calories, just fiber. There are other types of food fiber, Metamucil. I'm sure you can get plain brands. To put that into your diet will totally change the cleanliness of your bowel movement experience, as well as the smell. Mixing a lot of foods, eating very hot foods, eating large quantities of foods, hot as far as cayenne pepper, chili pepper, these types of things. If you currently have that as a normal part of your diet, you may find that regular penetration might change your experience of that, because the rectum becomes incredibly sensitive. And psyllium basically wraps all movements and blankets in something, almost it sweeps through the entire colon and comes out clean. Clean in the sense that you wouldn't need to clean your toilet bowl after a psyllium movement with regular food. Without psyllium, you may find that you tend to need to clean your toilet bowl. It leaves a residue. So the first thing in prep is your diet. And to simply put it, if this temple is eaten 2 or 3 meals large, there probably will not be an anal penetration in that environment in the next 24 hours possibly. There are techniques to speed up the movement. Enema bags, water enemas, and then various things you can drink. And I have practiced those at various times in the past. It's been 6 or 7 years since that part of practice has been engaged in. Mostly through larger consumptions of water, less food, psyllium, and something I call the finger swirl, which is basically taking this finger, putting it into the rectum, saliva being the best lubricant to enter, and gently stroking back and forth, slowly entering. Short fingernails are recommended. Almost no fingernail keeps that tool, your finger, very clean. If you penetrate with the finger and you start to do a clockwise or counterclockwise swirl, pressing your toes down, lifting up in the chest, and continue to swirl and maintain a breath, that will allow for and stimulate a movement. It can also create an orgasm anally if it's continued. If you press your toes down, breathe, and ride through those waves, you will in 10 to 15 minutes possibly stimulate a movement that can empty the whole digestive tract without using any chemicals at all, or not chemicals, but whatever you may call them, supplements. The psyllium I would still use regardless, because it makes the finger swirl a much more cleaner process, as well as psyllium in the diet during a penetrating exercise is easy to clean up in seconds, always keeping a roll of toilet paper close by and on hand, and a way to dispose of anything that's cleaned up in a Ziploc bag or something that can be sealed quickly. As far as lubricants go, back in '99 many were available and tried, and I know they've come up with a lot of different ones, and for the most part, if you're drinking the water on a regular basis, you will find that you do not need lube at all. And there are others who share the same experience. Lubricants tend to dry up and leave a sticky, grippery surface. At some point, you always need to add more. Whereas if you're drinking water every 15 or 20 minutes in cold environments, drink water that's body temperature or warmer so it doesn't start to squeeze the whole body into resistance. Also, if you have drank coffee prior to a penetration, it changes it like a Jekyll and Hyde shift, meaning every single penetration can be generating so much energy that you will not be able to sustain the orbit. It will boot you out, and your rectum may become supercharged and even tenser. So drinking the warm water, using warm water whenever you do the swirl, and those will help relax the rectum. If you're drinking plenty of water, it's easy to come up with a mouthful of saliva. Your saliva is your rectum's preference. And then second, someone else's saliva would be the next best. Third, water. Fourth, your favorite lubricant. I recommend that, maybe in the beginning, if you have a lubricant you've been using and you're really connected to it, start out with it. However, allow your body's natural lubricant to show up. It should show up to such a degree that you're cleaning up the spillage that shows up, what a lot of people might refer to as a wet orgasmic purge coming from the rectum. Once it's been stimulated for 15 or 20 minutes, it gets quite wet, and it takes on a totally different personality than the rectum that has only one-way traffic. So, eating light, psyllium, using warm water, using the finger swirl to evacuate, drinking plenty of water throughout so that you can use your own saliva, and then in 15 to 20 minutes you should find the rectum takes care of it completely. Even if you're using a dildo that's as large as like a John Holmes dildo, it still would be sufficient. So the only thing left in prep would be your posture. When you are starting the procedure, it's very important that you may want to do a finger swirl prior to penetrating with a tool or a toy or a dildo, whichever you're using, with your finger. That will relax, and then an upward lift in the chest and an slight inward tug of the abdomen, gripping with both toes. And usually, if you have not already penetrated that day, a slow up and down movement through the thighs, or if you're using the pogo, a back and forward movement of the arms through the handle of the pogo will allow for a gentle entry. If you are using supplements such as drugs, alcohol tends to dry up the rectum. Pot can make you aware, marijuana can make you aware of the state of your hydration. Most people, when they smoke, immediately experience a desire for more water. And that's because most people are not consuming enough water. The amount of water we need is probably much higher than it was for our ancestors because of the environments we live in, and we live in air-conditioned and heated houses and buildings and cars. So we're also in blacktop concrete jungles where the moisture is quite different. Keeping all that in mind, we can achieve a perfect penetration and have a very enjoyable orbit. Thank you.